What's going on YouTube? Good morning. I'm back again with another question that I get asked a lot, especially now that I'm shooting film, is how do you get the film look? That's a super loaded question with a lot of different answers, so let's get into it. First off, are you trying to do photo or video? Because there are characteristics you got to keep in mind for both. There's also positives to doing it and negatives to doing it. Let's get into what you even have to do to get that far. For photo, use LUTs, use emulations, things like that. I'm not a big LUT guy, emulation guy for photo, so I wouldn't know where to tell you to go, but if you Google film LUTs and such, you probably will find something nice. For video, if you're looking for emulation software, anwser is probably the best. They got tons of film emulations and then a lot of great characteristics like bloom and vignetting and halation and grain and all the great things that make a vintage image. If you can't afford it, they do have a trial. There are other ones out there that are pretty decent, but the anwser seems to be the best. If you don't want to do something in post and you want to get it right in camera like you're supposed to, there are a few different things you can do. Biggest thing is obviously sensitivity to light. That is the big difference between a film image and a digital image, because digital sensors can handle light and shadows better than film. So shoot it in a way that emulates how film would handle light. That'll make making it vintage in post a lot easier. Couple things, you can use filters. I use these sometimes. Black Pro Mist being my favorite because it brings up the highlights while pushing down shadows. Pure Mist filter or Pro Mist filter will just bring up everything. So depending on what shot you want to do, if you're trying to do something low light at night, I'll use Black Pro Mist. If you're trying to bring up everything, kind of make it all this level playing field, I would use this. Pro Mist, Pure Mist, what have you. The best thing you could probably do is go find vintage glass, mount it to your digital camera. You're going to need an adapter. You should go to your local store and do some research, try to see, what mount is your camera and different lenses that you might like, because obviously you're going to have to adapt them. These are FD to X mount and EF to X mount, because I shoot on a Fuji for digital, so I got to adapt to that. You can also just get screw-on ones like this. This is a Jupiter 9 here. This is an M42 screw-on lens, but I have a EF adapter on the back. And then I just set them on 77mm on the front of all my lenses because I want the same matte box to fit all of them. This is a FD lens, so I would use this adapter right here. You can get adapters for on the cheap end, like 20 to 50 bucks, and if you really want to get jiggy with it, you can spend $600 on a Metabones adapter, which has a bunch of different advantages like speed boosting and things like that. We can get into that in a different video. Really, this is just a simple question, how to get the film look. Now let's talk disadvantages, because obviously the positive is you get the look that you want. You get that more soft, sensitive, vintage goodness that you would want out of that look. Negatives are you lose autofocus, because as you know, or maybe you don't, that most of these lenses are all manual. So if you're super used to autofocus, you lose that in almost every case shooting with vintage lenses. A better way to get around that is to use focus peaking, where whatever's in focus, you'll have a color kind of casting over them. You can do green, red, blue, white. Every camera is a little different. I personally like green, but obviously a lot of people like red. Some lenses are designed to stabilize themselves. Some of them work with the camera's IBIS or in-camera image stabilization. You lose that as well. What does that mean? So you're gonna have to be very calculated with your movements. You can't just slap on a vintage lens and run around. You're gonna get a lot more micro jitters, you're gonna get a lot more shakes. A way to get around that, you can use a gimbal, or what I like to do is add weight. The more weight you add, the more stable. You can position onto your body, put a plate on the back so you can hold it, put it over your shoulder mount, get a vest so you can hold it on a cable. There's many different ways to do it, but On the flip side, it will make you a better cinematographer or a better photographer, because the whole purpose of film, you have to really stop and think, because you get 36 shots and you can't rapid fire them, right? You have to compose the shot. It will kind of make you rethink how you're going to capture that image. You'll set your camera up differently. You're going to look at it for a little bit. If you can, of course. I'm not sure what you're shooting, but obviously if you're doing still life or nature, it's zen-like to take that second and really hone in on what is the story I'm trying to tell with this image? What am I trying to capture? So for me, other than the vintage look that I love so much, you get a little bit of peace and frustration at first. But, once you get your style down, hopefully you already have a style. Everyone does have a style, you just got to find yours. It's built deep inside of you. But after you find it, this will kind of help take that to the next level. So, in conclusion, to get the film look, I would first start with vintage lenses. I would then start with filters. I would then go into post. If I don't have the option of getting any of this stuff, I would go into post and get film emulations, film LUTs, things of that nature. Learn how, if you use DaVinci, I was going to say this, learn how to use Cineon Log. I can do a separate video on that. It really puts the film look, it helps put the film look LUTs on your footage, especially if you're shooting in some kind of log or raw. But again, that's a whole nother video. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but so filters, vintage lenses, post-production will give you the film look. So until next time, I'm supposed to say subscribe, hit the like button, the notification bell, all that good stuff. If you want to, that'd be dope. If you don't, that's cool. Hopefully I see you again, and have a great day.